Hey everybody, Dustin DePirac here, columnist Jeremy Price. Back at Assembly Hall for one more time before Christmas and one more time before games actually get real and we don't have to talk about, well, this kind of stuff. IU wins 90-66. Some good, some bad, some otherwise, but a lot of the good probably wouldn't, they were playing a Kennesaw State team that really could not put on a whole lot of resistance to what they wanted to do, really couldn't defend them at all, and couldn't take advantage of the fact that Indiana gave the ball away 20 times, basically. Did a little bit, but not enough. They kept it from being a monster blowout, I guess. 90-66 is significant, but it's not like 40, 50 points, but right. One way or the other. Indiana had, again, some really good things happen. They shot 62.7% from the field, 65% in the second half. Really, when they got to shoot, they were basically unstoppable. But they often did not get to shoot because they gave the ball away. So that was sort of the one thing that, Tom Crean at least was more, I think he kind of made a point to address it before, as early as possible in this particular press conference, is saying, look how good we can be when we don't turn the ball over. And it was pretty impressive. It was impressive, obviously, again, because Kennesaw State cannot defend in the same way that a Big Ten team can defend. But amazing just the differences, the dichotomy in this one between what happened when Indiana shot the ball without turning it over and what happened when they didn't.
Yeah, and whether you shoot as well as they did or not, whether it's Kennesaw State or not, turnovers are turnovers. And obviously, I don't think the turnovers were hurt them all that well. I take that back. They gave up 18 points off turnovers.
Yeah,
so
it was more the empty possessions.
But they
had whenever they were able to get the ball, inside. Whenever they get just to get a shot, and they were able to get the ball inside a lot. 58 points in the paint. So all 29 of their 2-point turnovers, 2-point field goals come in the paint. They had 3 threes. Yogi Ferrell hit all 3 of them. Those were the only shots, only field goals outside the paint. They didn't take a lot of 2-point jumpers because they didn't have to. They were able to just get the ball in the lane pretty much at will, and if they missed their first shot, they rebounded and dunked it, more or less. That's the kind of ability that they had in this game. They pretty much couldn't, Kennesaw State couldn't guard Yogi Ferrell at all. Just ran past everybody, including the one play they had. I have no explanation for it. Somehow he managed to sort of catch the ball on his back and, I don't know, cross over 3 or 4 times, fall over, throw it off the backboard. I still don't know how he made a 3-point play out of that. But they couldn't defend him. Obviously didn't have a lot of answer for Noah Vonleh, who had 14 points and 9 rebounds. Will Sheehy kind of the same way. He was just sort of dunking on people, was more sort of dominant at the rim maybe than we've ever seen Will. And Luke Fisher, he was, they didn't really have an answer for him. He had 10 points, 4 or 5. So they really did what they wanted when they got the ball someplace. It's just they're still, not making great decisions. If finding cases having a hard time just keeping the ball together, just, having a hard time keeping the dribble, just not making stupid passes. Some of that stuff is still happening. Again, when they got to the rim, they could do whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, it's one of those games. Obviously, Yogi played really well, and it's a difficult matchup for this kind of team. And he did what he needed to do to get his team going and really spark the runs.
It's not even a difficult matchup. It's just he's just that much faster.
Right.
They have guys that that have the same amount of length. He's 5'11". In some way, he's the guy you should be able to guard. But he's just that. That's where you see just the speed. Where the difference is a guy that he can just run past everybody Kennesaw State can put on him.
So all that's nice for Yogi, but the flip side is this is the kind of game where you'd like to see other people get involved and do some things. And right. Noah had a solid game. Will had another, has been more consistent lately, had another nice game, 15 points. But other than Luke Fisher coming off the bench with 10 points, there wasn't a whole lot else there that gave you a whole lot of reason to get excited about,
Right.
And against a Kennesaw State, what you'd hope is that would be a chance to kind of get some guys going that haven't had a chance to get going so far.
Yeah, they had some minutes. You just didn't see a lot out of them, I guess. Stanley Robinson's 3 for 5, and he's been playing pretty solid lately in the limited minutes he's had. Devin Davis had a couple moments, but he also had a couple, things that didn't go so well. Austin Etherington, Evan Gordon had exploded. He was 0 for 1 today, you're right. There wasn't a lot that came off, other than Fisher, like you said, Robinson. There wasn't a lot that came off the bench. You had some guys, kind of the main guys were, pretty good today, but you didn't get a lot out of other people, other than, of course, Fisher.
Yeah, it's one of those games where, I think it was a markedly improved performance from Friday night. But,
which was just
that wasn't hard to do. But it wasn't the kind of game that you walk away taking a whole lot of positives
Right.
from
You don't go say, okay, they've got it going into Big Ten play. I mean, you see certain things worked well. I mean, they obviously understood they had to get the ball in the paint, on some level at the very least. I mean, they a lot of it was coming off of drives and more so off of transition. They were able to get out and really run today. They had 17 fast break points, and usually, the fast break number we get is usually, maybe a little bit more than half of what it of actual transition points, basically, of points they usually get before the defense is set. They really don't give you fast break points unless you're the only one there when they score, theoretically, whoever does that scoring. So they were able to do a lot in transition, played through Noah some, not a ton, but enough, at least it was obvious that they recognized that they were supposed to do that with Fisher and Vonleh on some level, so they at least kind of stuck to the game plan knowing, all right, we're going to be able to get inside on this team. But yeah, I mean, one, you don't know if they're going to be able to do that. They were able to do that just because they didn't have the resistance there. And yeah, I mean, there's still, you don't come away with this like, okay, they've figured something out, like this is what this team is going to be when it gets into Big Ten play. We still have no idea what the answer for that is really. Who this team is, how good they're going to be, no concept really at all. Yeah,
I'm not sure. I know what the pieces look like better than I did 13 games ago, but I still don't really have a better handle on who this team is or what they are ultimately going to become.
What they're capable of, No, I mean, and I think we've gone over and over what they do well when things are working out. Basically, when they're, like they obviously rebound well. They've got a lot of length. They're athletic, that sort of thing. And they're better off when they're not taking a lot of jump shots because they're not particularly good at that. But you still, you don't get a sense of necessarily the identity of this team. You don't get the sense that they know what they're good at and know how to get it yet. There's some guys I think that we were more impressed with early than we have been lately. I mean, Noah Vonleh is one of those cases. He was fine today, but some of that is on guys for not getting the ball, but some of it is for not only not demanding it, but not putting himself in a position to demand it. It certainly did it today because again there wasn't anybody to defend him. But part of the reason they weren't able to get him the ball is because he hadn't carved enough space out like he was doing very much early. And Troy Williams he had an interesting day. 3 for 4. 4 rebounds, 7 points, 4 assists, 4 steals, 6 turnovers. So, you're seeing some of that, like him playing. This was kind of a classic example of him playing really up-tempo but just having a hard time controlling himself.
Right. The biggest thing, I look at with Noah is if you look here, I think he's had about 6 straight games now without double-figure shot attempts.
Or anywhere close to it. Really.
Yeah, not even. I mean,
somewhere in the middle, like the 4, 5, 6, 7
most
range.
of the time it's 4, 5, 6. Yeah, something like that. And I just really think this team has to get him the ball, and he has to get shots more than that. Whether it's on, a lot of his stuff today even was a lot of Yogi's penetration, and then Yogi just dishing it off at the end. It wasn't so much post-ups.
Get him the ball, post-ups. No, you're right.
Nor was
some
he getting
some
the ball.
Rebounds and putbacks and stuff like that. I mean, he only had one offensive board. I think, but he dunked on it.
But he's shown that step-out shot at times this season, and I don't recall as he even had the ball in position to do something like that today. And
no, not at all.
So, it's not just getting the ball on the block. Sometimes it might be the free throw line. Sometimes it might be on the wing. Just run the ball through him a little bit more, I think. And to a certain extent, I think maybe that's where the identity struggle is with this team. There's sort of a comfort level with the ball in Yogi's hands, but I'm not sure the offense works as effectively when the ball is always in Yogi's hands. It needs to go through Vonleh, or I thought they did actually a better job getting Fisher the ball.
Today they did Noah. No, you're right. No, I think I'm interested. You never know how these things are being talked about in practice, in the locker room, in games, whatever, and on the bench. But I think sometimes I just feel like it's got to be established. Somebody actually has to say Noah is your best player. Noah is your best option. Get him the ball first off, and from there, go from there. I don't know. I'm very interested in what Yogi Ferrell thinks his role is right now. Is he the guy? I mean, the last 2 games, I think he's been playing the way you want him to play. I mean, you want him to play freely, and you don't necessarily want him, tied down by anything, but you also don't want it to be a situation where he thinks he's got to take the shot every time. And it looked like that's what happened in Notre Dame. This was more like it. It's like if as Tom Crean says, if the shot's there, take it. If the pass is there, take it. Look for what's there, but look to get your teammates involved. And he definitely did that today. He definitely did that the last 2 games. Had 13 assists the last 2 games. Hadn't been doing that before. But I think, there's got to be. It seems to be that they default to getting the ball to Yogi as opposed to default to getting the ball to Noah.
Yeah,
which it just seems like if it gets there, things, good things happen when it gets in the post for them.
Again, like you say, we're not really sure. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors or whatever. But in my opinion, I think Noah is your best player. Yogi might be your most valuable player just with the role he plays on this team, the things he's able to do with the ball, all those kind of things. But I think Noah is the best player.
He's the guy that you can get the ball to that is going to have an advantage most times. Like that he's going to be in an advantage position more times, I think.
And defenses are going to have to shift to adjust him, whether they're doubling or just shading over in his direction, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
The defense is going to have to make some adjustments, and I think there can be some ball movement and cutting off of that opens things up, including for Yogi, who's, as it turned out to be this team's best three-point threat.
By a long shot.
And so if you're going to get Yogi some open looks spotting up from three, I think you're obviously going to have to get the ball into Noah to open up some of those things.
And kick it back out. Yeah. So, no, there's a lot. Defense was okay. Not great. 48% in the second half.
Yeah.
That's... Orlando Coleman looked okay, I have to say. That if there was at least one player who looked like he belonged for Kennesaw State, it was Orlando Coleman for sure. Delbert Love looked okay at 13 points, but Orlando Coleman could play. But anyway, so they get real fast. I'm taking off for a few days, going back to the Berg, and we'll come back in a week, basically New Year's Eve from Champaign, Illinois, from the Millennium Falcon Assembly Hall. That's
or the
always
State Farm Center.
I don't call it that. It's the Millennium Falcon Assembly Hall. I don't care what anybody calls it. I mean, corporate interests do not take over the Star Wars references.
You'll be getting a letter from Disney's lawyers shortly.
I don't really care. Anyway, thanks everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, Happy everything. That's it. Thanks guys.
See you later.